Hello everyone, welcome to the subject of industrial engineering and management. Myself, Ram Prasad, Assistant Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today we will see about the basic concepts of industrial engineering and its related tools which are used in industry. Let's start. First, we look up to the course objectives to which the syllabus has been framed. The very first objective is to identify and explain the core functions of management and their significance in achieving the organizational goals. The second objective is to analyze and streamline the work process in different organizational domains through which we can eliminate unnecessary steps and improve the efficiency. The third objective is to develop proficiency to ensure adherence to quality standards and identify areas for improvement. Now we look up to the course outcomes at the end of the course, which the students will be or the learners will be able to understand. First outcome is to understand the fundamental functions of management and their applicability in various organizational contexts. The second outcome is to demonstrate the proficiency in creating work study and time study techniques to enhance productivity and resource utilization. The third outcome, at the end of Unit 3, you will be able to apply the principles of wage incentive schemes and ergonomic design to propose and develop effective compensation plans and workplace layouts. The fourth outcome is to utilize statistical quality control tools, which are the basics for any industrial engineering concept, to design and implement effective inspection procedures towards achieving zero defects. And at the last, we have course outcome 5, which indicates the analyze operational process, enhance organizational efficiency, and improve the overall performance in business environment. We'll have a quick glance about the syllabus. Unit 1 majorly deals with the introduction to management concepts and organization structures, whereas Unit 2 we have the basic concepts of work study and time study. And Unit 3 it's predominantly about the wages, incentives, and the economic principles which have been applied and used in different industries. Unit 4 deals with the inspection and quality control concepts, and Unit 5 will dive into the current trends which are happening in the industrial engineering field. These are the two books which you can refer for all the syllabus, inclusive of all the contents in the entire unit. First, let us delve into the definition of industrial engineering. Basically, it is called as a technical management subject. The reason being, most of the topics which you study here belongs to management concepts, whereas the applications seems to be in the engineering principles. So it is basically an engineering profession which is concerned about optimization of complex process, systems, and organization, where you can develop, improve, and implement different integrated systems of people, money, knowledge, and equipment. There you can see the four M's, which are basics and which will drive the industry, be it a service industry or a manufacturing industry. We have men, machine, material, and money. Of late, we have also upgraded to the fifth M, which is called as the method. So basically, an industrial engineer has to look up to optimize all these four M's to drive for excellence in bringing the organizational objectives and improving the overall efficiency. Now we look up to the different levels of industry. Basically, an industrial engineering principle or tool can be applied to any industry. As informed, it can be a manufacturing industry, it can be a service industry. There are few industries which have been categorized as the primary, secondary, and tertiary. The primary industry corresponds to the one which directly produce the raw materials from which we can make certain useful items. Those extraction of the raw materials includes your mining activities, forestry, agriculture, fishing, and many more. We usually call agriculture as a primary industry. It is because they produce the raw materials that require further processing for human use. It can be of rice, wheat, and any edible items through which we'll develop a different products, inclusive of the FMCGs, which means that fast-moving consumer goods. The second industry is your secondary industry that are predominantly dependent on converting these raw materials into certain useful products. And this process involves processing and manufacturing. It involves processing of raw material into certain finished goods, or some cases it may be also up to processing into a partially finished good. Those partially finished goods are predominantly applied to a food industry, where the work in progress inventory is stored and then they are converted into a finished products. Certain examples of your secondary industry: bakeries that make flour into bread, whereas the manufacturing of flour or production of flour includes your primary industry. That comes under your category of primary industry. The other example can be the factories that change your metals and plastics into vehicles. It involves all your assembly parts, all your manufacturing sectors, inclusive your automobile plants and others. The reason why they are called as a secondary industry is because they add value to the raw material. In an industry scenario, where most of the concepts involves about elimination of waste. So how do you define waste in an industry? Basically, waste is defined as something which doesn't add any value to the product, but it adds only cost. Now, these industries, they add only value to the product. Now, the product here refers to the raw material which are procured from the primary industry. The next category is your tertiary industries. So they provide the essential services and they support or allow the other industries to function. It is with these industries, the primary and the secondary industries are predominantly dependent upon, and they are also referred to as spin-off industries. It is because without these industries, the effectiveness and the efficiency of the first two industries will become a standstill. Here are a few tertiary industries or tertiary sectors which have been supporting all the primary and secondary industries. Few examples being the transportation industries, the advertising scenarios, the retail industries, inclusive of the institutions, education institution which comes under the teaching, your healthcare, hotels, restaurants, all those services which are non-physical products which cannot be consumed or touched directly, but they can be used or they can be utilized through which you will be able to achieve the services of your primary and secondary industry. Now let us see about the broad areas in which industrial engineering you focus on. As you could see, industrial engineering is not limited to any technical nor service sectors. It is also applicable to all the sectors. You could see it is even applicable in financial service sectors, banking sectors, defense, aerospace techniques. Even in IT industries, you have concepts of industrial engineering which have been applied. There are also cases of healthcare industries where the concept of industrial engineering, uh, even of late, we have been seeing that many multi-specialty hospitals are trying hard to reduce the waiting time of the patients. So for which they have been utilizing this concept of queuing theory, which is an industrial engineering concept. And you have your supply chain, which is one of the most booming areas right now. Even in education and research, we have been using industrial engineering concepts, and energy, military, public services, manufacturing. So all these sectors, it's not that industrial engineering is limited only to a core sector or a service sector. It is applicable, and it is, by found, it is one of the most important sort techniques for any industries. What we actually do in industrial engineering, the ideal, it is very simple. The ideal case is to improve your productivity. So how do you increase your productivity? By efficient use of all the three M's which have been informed earlier: men, machine, material, and money. So how do you do it? It is just like that you cannot improve the material intake, just like that you cannot improve the number of machineries which are bought, just like that you cannot improve the money which has been involved. You have to look ways of optimizing it by improving the production as well as cost reduction. So it is about utilizing of the available resources to ensure that the productivity is increased without affecting the input. Now let us see about significant events in the development of industrial engineering concept. Of late, we have been learning about or hearing about this word of industrial engineering from the early 1990s and 2000s. But this concept is well beyond what our imagination is about. The early concept of industrial engineering starts with labor specialization, and then it was the scientific management era where people started using the Gantt chart, motion chart, time studies, queuing theory. Then it was the concept of mass production, which was developed by Henry Ford, who is called as the father of production sectors. He was the one who started the moving assembly line. As you could see that this is the image which has been displayed here. It is one of the example of how the mass production has been carried out in the Ford production line. Then you have your economic order quantity, then the linear programming, the PERT CPM techniques, all your optimization and operation research techniques will come under this category of mass production era. Later, the industrial revolution happened, and people started focusing on lean production, where lean is about elimination of waste. So they brought in the concept of total quality management, the computer aided design, the just-in-time concepts, the Kanbans. All those steps contribute to your lean production era. And later, it was moved on to a mass customization, where globalization was happening. Enterprise resource planning, supply chain management, agile manufacturing, all the latest concepts which are being studied over are involved in this mass customization era. So here are few people who have contributed significantly. For want of time, I'm just putting up only few people. Of course, there are many more others who have contributed much to a greater extent. So first one is Mr. Smith, who brought out this concept of division of labor, which is still the ideal or the basic scenario for fixing any labor laws in any countries. The second one is about standardization concepts, which has been widely used for all the manufacturing and assembly sectors. The third one is the scientific management, who is called as the father of management principles, Mr. Henry Foyle and Mr. H.W. Taylor. The next one is your coordinated assembly line developed by Henry Ford. The Gantt charts, one of the most common chart which is used for any project management principles, and then the motion study, which is quite commonly used to analyze the ergonomical aspect of the human. The quality controls, the CPM and PERT. CPM refers to critical part method, and PERT refers to program evaluation and evaluation technique. Of course, the last one is flexible manufacturing system, where people have been using moving on the concept of utilizing flexible machines rather than using flexible tools. It was in the earlier period people were using flexible tools for doing a particular operation or doing a process, but later on they have moved on to the concept of flexible machines, which have been an integral part of this flexible manufacturing system. So now we'll see about how this industrial revolution have happened. It was initially started with Industry 1.0, where the predominant players were machineries, water power, and steam powers. Then it took almost closer to 120 years for the next industrial revolution to happen, where mass production and assembly line was seen as one of the major areas of concern and areas of focus in the early part of 1900s, and in the later part of 1900s, closer to 1970, industrial 3.0 revolution took. You could see the transition which has been happening. The first industrial revolution took 120 years to transform from 1.0 to 2.0. The second industrial revolution started in the 1900s. It took just 70 years. And of course, the third industrial revolution, from within the 30 years, it has been upgraded to Industry 4.0, which have been the recent trends of using IoTs, your cyber physical system, cloud computing, machine learning. And even now, people have moved on to the next upgraded version of Industry 5.0. You could see the differences. Earlier, it was only 30 years. Now, within a span of 20 years, Industry 5.0 concept has been the talk of the town, with people looking onto human cyber physical system as their need for solutioning any operation difficulties. So, this with this, we'll have a quick recap about what are the things we have seen in this first video. We have seen about the basics of industrial engineering, the evolution of industrial engineering concept, and what are the areas of scope where industrial engineering have been focused on. In the next video, we'll go deep into the unit with much focus on the syllabus which have been given. Thank you.